Welcome to the latest episode of the second half draft show brought to you by Couch Potato General Manager. I'm your host, Juice, joined by my two corners. Finally, we got Hadley in the building, along with Drew as always. You know, of course, Hadley wants to get in that zone, watch what the quarterback's doing, break from the football. Drew did all those bench reps, you know what I'm saying? So, he want to press you, and me, I'm the last line of defense, you know what I mean? Deep third, center field defender at the safety. So, man, got the whole secondary, got our own version of the Legion of Boom here with you guys. Welcome in. If you haven't partaked in the show previously, we welcome you in. Check us out at Couch Potato General Manager, the YouTube channel. We also have a website, www.couchpotatogm. Let's talk about where we typically start on the second half draft show.
Hold on. I got to do it. I got to do it, man. Hey,
I was rolling, man.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Listen.
You could have interjected. You could have interjected when I went to the the first game. You could have started there. But
I'm a commercial, bro.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Bro.
An ill-advised commercial.
Yeah, man. I'm the EV commercial. But since you're here, go ahead and wipe your feet on the carpet when you come through the door. How do you do that? You hit the like button, man. Don't forget to comment and don't forget to share the video.
All right.
There you go.
So with that being said, let's talk about some 2023 draft prospects from last week in college football. We highlighted several matchups a week ago. We've had an opportunity to watch the games. We then go back to the tape to evaluate some more, analyze, really determine what it is that we liked, what we didn't like, what you should know as football enthusiasts, NFL draft enthusiasts. And we're going to start with the Georgia-South Carolina game. And I'm going to throw it to you, Drew. Obviously a very one-sided affair in this particular matchup. I was interested to see how Spencer Rattler would fare against, arguably, I don't even know if it's an argument at this juncture, the best defense in college football, despite the fact that they lost all that talent to the NFL in the 2022 NFL draft. There were a couple of plays that, you opened up your eyes and there was a certain level of brilliance. And then it just kind of, the MO, it looked like Oklahoma and Spencer Rattler all over again. You understand what I'm saying? So what did you think of this particular game, his performance, and then we could turn our attention to the other quarterback on the other side?
Yeah, Spencer Rattler is 2 steps forwards. I'm sorry. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Or it could be 2 steps forward, 5 steps back. However you want to do the math. It doesn't really matter. But it is what it is. He had a couple of good throws. He threw one to Jaheim Bell, the tight end, right over his shoulder, beat the corner. It was nice. But I mean, doing what he usually do, throwing off his back foot, trying to play hero ball. And when you play South Carolina versus Georgia, you're probably gonna have to have a little bit of that. But when you don't got the horses going against that defense, and Georgia's offense is something to be reckoned with when you talk about Stetson Bennett, it puts the pressure on you, man. It's almost like Kansas City Chiefs, man, not to say back in the day, but when Mahomes finally got on the scene, man, it's just pressure that continue to put on you. And then you talk about the Georgia defense, there was really no hope there, man. I was just hoping to see a better Spencer Rattler, but it is pretty much same old.
Hadley, we didn't get an opportunity to kind of see a couple of prospects that we really were anticipating. Cam Smith, for example, the corner from South Carolina. I believe Jalen Carter, all-world defensive tackle for Georgia. He played, but he was limited. We weren't sure whether or not he would actually play in this particular game. But your overall thoughts on that defense, that Georgia defense, who stood out to you? Who's been standing out to you?
Man, a lot of them. You can start right there with Jalen Carter, man, the big D tackle. One guy that has surprised me that I didn't see, is Chris Smith, the safety. He's all over the place, flying all over the football field. Nolan Smith, physical edge against the run game, man. How he covers ground so much on that edge. Just once he gets his pass rushing moves and his technique better, he's gonna be one of the best edge rushers in this class. So yeah, it's loaded all over, and they got some guys that's not 2023 prospects that they're coming next, and Kelee Ringo, he hasn't really made a splash yet, but the technique, the length, he hasn't had to, man. But the front seven is all over the place. So yeah, Ringo is another guy that I'm really impressed with on that Georgia defense.
Obviously, with Ringo, considering that he hasn't really been challenged to this point, the focus, the emphasis, obviously, is the traits, right? We've talked about that on a weekly basis. That modern scouting is placing more and more of an emphasis on traits. Now, that puts pressure, it puts a certain level of pressure and warranted pressure on the corresponding coaching staff to get that individual up to speed, right, and to teach them the finer points and the technique and give them the requisite coaching to really unlock all those physical tools, those traits, but certainly Ringo has those in spades. Before I turn the page, Drew, anything else from this particular matchup?
Yeah, we can talk about Stetson Bennett, who's kind of taking control of that offense, because last year it was kind of like, hey, just don't lose us the game. You know what I'm saying? Kind of be that game manager. And I think he kind of took that to heart and he said, hey, I'm going to step this thing up and I'm going to be a difference maker. And that dude's been a difference maker. Listen, he's one of those guys, bro, where you kind of look at him, you like, yeah, we gonna be able to catch him. And he's making guys miss as if, like it's nothing, man. Like I don't know how he's doing it. You know what I mean? And I was thinking about it and I said, you know what he reminds me of, bro, when I'm in Little League, and the team I was on, I'm talking me specifically, the teams I was on, there was usually about one or two, white guys. Everybody else was of color. But those white guys were really good, bro. I'm just letting you know. That's kind of what I'm looking at. And I'm like, yo, this guy is incredible, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But in terms of his athletic ability, it's fun to watch. But in terms of him playing the quarterback position, he doesn't have the strongest arm. He's not gonna put the ball right on the bullseye, but he's gonna get it in the area. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up when you talk about all the quarterbacks that are coming out. But he's making strides and he's making things happen, man. You got those big bad tight ends, Darnell Washington, number 0, lined up next to Broderick, the left tackle. And I'm like, which one's the left tackle, bro?
Exactly. Which one is the left tackle?
Listen, I said, no, that's Darnell. He's a little bit bigger, a little bit wider than Broderick, but yeah, those are a couple of guys that I'm watching out for and that are progressing. Washington isn't getting a lot of run in terms of production, but he's out there and you notice him.
Of course. And again, we can reiterate that conversation regarding the traits. He's what they're looking for in terms of at the next level, in terms of that rare athleticism and physical tools, size that he plays at. The young man, the tight end that I'm not gonna name him because he's an underclassman. He's so good, man. He is their passing game at Georgia. You know what I'm saying? And he makes Stetson Bennett, his life so much easier just being a person. I mean, they gave him an end around. He scored on an end around. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It really is. Glad you mentioned Broderick Jones. Broderick Jones is steadily moving up boards. Depending on who you ask, he could be the top tackle in the class. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. As far as Bennett is concerned, before we do turn the page, I think what's key for him is considering that there are some limitations regarding arm strength, the velocity, those types of physical tools and traits. I think he certainly has the mind for it. You mentioned the underrated athleticism, Drew. You got to go to these. Got to go to the Mobile. You got to go to these showcases and demonstrate why you belong. You know what I'm saying? Move away from, hey, he's just kind of the quarterback and he's been there a really long time and he's surrounded by so much talent. It's hard for him to fail. If you have the ability, they'll find you. But go and compete. You know what I mean? Go to Mobile, go to the Senior Bowl, and really see how you stack up against what we anticipate is going to be a really competitive and talented quarterback class here in the 2023 group. All right, let's move on to Penn State at Auburn. And I want to start with you, Hadley. Your thoughts on some of the 2023 NFL draft prospects in this contest.
Well, the game, man, the Penn State really opened it up in the second half. I thought they dominated on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Some of the prospects that I was watching, some of the Auburn prospects, didn't really show out because of the blowout. But Tanks Bigsby, he's a problem. Just how he runs the football, hard to bring down in between the tackles. He reminds me a lot of that Frank Gore running style. He's not the biggest, not the fastest, but he's just efficient. He's efficient.
Right.
I know also Derek Hall, physical edge rusher for Auburn. Joey Porter was out there from Penn State. You know, the corner, physical guy, just the mentality that he plays with. So, you know, I was watching all of them, and that left tackle from Penn State, Olu, going against Derek Hall and those guys, he held his own. You know, I think he needs to get probably stronger in the running game, but you know, his pass protecting, he moved well, and they had no sacks. Oh, sorry, they did. That was another team I was talking about. That was Michigan State with no sacks, but he held his own. He held his own though.
What about you, Drew?
Another guy I don't want to leave out, and he was the one who essentially broke the back of the Auburn Tigers, was Jair Brown, number 16, the safety, kind of nickel safety, long. I don't call him lanky because he looked like he'll kill somebody coming up in the box. He was all over the place. He had a sack, an interception. He was kind of the moving piece within that defense for that particular game. So that's a guy to continue to watch for Penn State on that defense, just not Joey Porter.
All right. It was a little bit of a letdown, this particular game.
Definitely.
Right? Certainly next level talent, quite a bit to study, to evaluate. But as far as the level of competitiveness, it certainly was a letdown. Let's move on.
Real quick, I'm sorry. One more guy I wanted to name. Mitchell Tinsley, wide receiver number 5. That's Clifford's guy, bro. We thought it was going to be Parker Washington, because I know we that was the guy I was kind of keying on, number 3. But he's wearing that number 5. You know who wore number 5 last year for Penn State?
Jahan.
Yeah. And this guy has caught the most balls for the team, I think, in the nation, if I'm not mistaken, if I got the stat up right, and tied for the most touchdowns, bro. So this is a guy to continue to watch, man. So I think he's 6'2", big guy. And, you know, Penn State's always had that one or two guys in terms of that wide receiving core. And I think they may have it in Washington and Tinsley.
Looks like we lost you a little bit there, Drew. A little technical difficulty there. It broke up quite a bit.
I can repeat. Go
ahead. Reset it.
Mitchell Tinsley, wide receiver number 5 for Penn State. That's Clifford's guy. You know, he's not really getting the ball to Parker Washington like I thought he would. But apparently, you know, every quarterback has their guy, whether it's a tight end or a receiver or whoever it is. And it looks like Tinsley's the guy. He's got the most receptions in the country for the past couple of years. And he's tied for the most touchdowns as well. So this is a guy to continue to watch.
All right. Moving on to my Miami Hurricanes visiting the Texas A&M Aggies in College Station. And gentlemen, I was thoroughly disappointed by Miami's effort, particularly the offense, the execution, the lack thereof. Tyler Van Dyke obviously is part of the conversation in terms of being a day one quarterback selection. He didn't look good, didn't look particularly good. I think there's some concerns in terms of not the system that they're running currently, new head coach, new staff fits him, but there were some throws that I expect him to make that he simply didn't. Of course, when he did hit the receivers in their hands, they dropped them. Lost a couple of seniors a season ago, so Miami's still trying to figure that out. So it's difficult. It's difficult right now to get a real good beat on Tyler Van Dyke. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, certainly there's some things that he needs to work on in terms of cycling through his progressions and not necessarily locking in. He lost his top target, Xavier Restrepo, to injury. Won't have him for several weeks. I'm really interested to see how he adjusts in the meantime, how, you know, he works with some of these younger weapons on the team and sees what kind of continuity they can develop here in short order. On the other side of the ball, you know, as far as Miami's concerned, I thought Al Blades and Tyreek Stevenson, the corners, I thought they played well. Thought they played very well. You know, they demonstrated a certain level of physicality. They were sticky in coverage, got their hands on the football. I can't say the same about the front seven per se, because there's a guy, a running back that I'm going to turn it over to Hadley from Texas A&M that really put you in a bind, particularly when he got to the second level.
Yeah, man, Devin A Chain. You know, that's how you say it, man. It's A Chain, man. Hold your breath on every touch type of guy. Shifty, just the movements it's just easy, it's fluid. Also could catch the ball out of the backfield, and he just killed Miami every time he got the ball. You know, Miami needed that stop, and this guy was breaking tackles, making plays in the passing game, and this guy does it all, man. I've seen this guy doing a gunner. He was a gunner out there. He returned kicks. He's just a weapon out there, and he helps this football team, and he's the reason they won that game. Other than Miami, the play calling, not sticking to the run. They were guessing them. Zion Nelson and those boys, they look good out there. They're both running backs you guys had, but I think y'all got a little pass happy a little bit, and Van Dyke he didn't have his guy, and when he hit guys, they were dropping passes like you said. So Texas A&M, Devin A Chain, man, he's a special player, and I think he's gonna be one of the best running backs in this class.
So I got some of that. I'm not sure how much our audience may have got with respect to that. You broke up. Obviously, Devin A Chain was the engine to their offense. It was quality analysis, but we didn't necessarily get all of it. That's okay, though. That's okay. What was really disappointing, I mentioned it. I was anticipating a better performance from Miami collectively on the offensive side of the ball. I thought defensively, overall, even though A Chain got his, they did a good job. They did a fairly decent job on the road there. The Aggies were down quite a few of their DBs, and then of course they lost their leader, Damani Richardson, to a targeting call. They lost him fairly early in the game, and then Antonio Johnson, the safety / nickelback, he had an injury and he was lost in the game, and they weren't able to take advantage of that. Tyler Van Dyke did not take advantage of that. Josh Gaddis, offensive coordinator, did not take advantage of that. Mario, I throw Mario Cristobal in there. You didn't take advantage of that. So really disappointing effort from prospects that we thought can make a little bit of noise. Zion Nelson continues to be, I liken it to baseball with him. You know what I'm saying? It's all or nothing. He's either going to swing for the fences or he's going to strike out. You know what I mean? I'm still looking for that snap-to-snap consistency from him on the offensive side of the ball. So mixed bag, certainly a mixed bag there from Miami. A couple of standouts from Texas A&M. Overall, I thought disappointing in general. Let's move on. Let's move on to Mississippi State versus LSU. And Drew, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on this game, considering that you're our resident SEC guy.
Yeah, Mississippi State should have won this football game, and they lost it because Will Rogers can't play defense. Will Rogers can't spot a quarterback. Will Rogers can't catch the ball, and Will Rogers can't block. He can only play quarterback. And the team itself let him down, and it's unfortunate. In terms of LSU, that front seven, the boys played very, very well. Them tackles it was rough. That right tackle, left tackle for Mississippi State, it was rough for those guys. BJ Ojulari was getting off. Linebackers getting off. Everybody was getting off in terms of that front seven. And a guy who flashed from play one to the last play was Jay Ward, number 5, nickel, safety, cornerback, whatever he is, DB. He might be DB1. Like I say,
what?
He might be DB1, not cornerback 1,
okay.
DB1 or nickel 1, if you will.
I suppose.
Because his ability to come up and I'm not gonna say stack and shed, but kind of slip by a block, get by a block, and still make a tackle. Get through. You're trying to screen. Nah, you're not gonna be able to screen that guy. If that tackle or guard is too slow, that's pulling. You're not gonna get to him. He's gonna make the play, and he's pretty damn good in coverage. So, that was a missed opportunity by Mississippi State. And listen, Will Rogers. I know you had asked me who my top 5 quarterbacks were. I'm looking to squeeze him in there, man, because that ability, that anticipation he has to get the ball out before the receiver makes his break or turns his head is something that will separate him from all the other quarterbacks that are out there, maybe outside of Bryce Young.
Wow, that's very, very high praise. Hadley, do you kind of echo the sentiment? Not perhaps with respect to the ranking per se, but the skill set.
The thing about Will Rogers, he gets the ball in his hands quickly. Also, like Drew says, the anticipation. He throws it before receivers break on their route. So, he does have that skill set. I think that what he has to work on more is just, he just the scheme, his mechanics. Sometimes, it's that turn and throw offensive scheme where it's like the mechanics might break down a little bit, but and he's not very athletic, so he kind of has to win within the pocket.
Okay. I know you talked about Ojulari quite a bit after that game, or actually during that game as we were kind of corresponding. Your thoughts on the edge from LSU?
Yeah, he took the game over. You know, the one man won that game for LSU. I know Jay Ward was all over the place too, but you know, it starts up front. The hands, the swim, that dip move, the bending dip, his shoulder dip is just too much for people. He goes, it's ridiculous how he gets to the quarterback, and you know, not a lot of people had him as one of the top edge rushers, and I think that a lot of people changing a lot of people's minds right now after this game. It was a statement game for Ojulari.
You guys have been on Ojulari early, all through the summer. The scouting, as we've got and approached the beginning of the college football season, you guys have been on Ojulari, and I think in terms of the 2022 season, this was kind of the coming out party. It's not that he played poorly previously, but just didn't necessarily have all the splash plays, you know, and considering some of the games, you know, particularly that FSU game early on, and it was a rough loss. It was a primetime game. You know, you're the only game on. You're expecting that guy to really, you know, show his wares, considering that FSU has had some offensive line struggles. He flashed a bit, but again, didn't necessarily capitalize quite as much as we had anticipated. This was a coming out party against Mississippi State, a team that could put the ball up in the air and make a lot of plays. He really changed the dynamics of this particular game. We move on to Michigan State versus Washington, and there's a gentleman by the name of Penix Jr., quarterback for Washington, that really was impressive. Former Indiana Hoosier, transfers, and the lefty put on a show. Hadley.
Let me get this, because
go get it. Hadley, slow playing. Go get it.
Yeah. So I was watching Washington before, but I was actually before this game. I think when they played Kent State. And I was actually watching. I was trying to look at their defense. I was like, well, let me just take a couple plays, look at the offense, just see who's out there. And this guy is super athletic, puts it on the money, and he's just. I don't want to call it incredible, because I don't want to quite get him that. I don't want to quite give him that. But he's going to carry that Washington football team. I thought it might have been their defense, and Washington's had bad quarterback play for a long time.
That's true.
And he might be the savior, comes in and saves this program, because he was incredible last week versus Michigan State, man. Him and the freshman. It was him in the freshman show. Polk. I'm going to say his name is Polk. I'm going to leave it there.
I know you wanted to talk about him.
I did. I was disappointed.
I know, but considering that he's an underclassman, he won't be eligible for the 2023 class. We're not going to put a whole lot of emphasis on that, right? Any other prospects from the Michigan State Washington game that you thought was noteworthy?
We're going to continue to talk about Jacoby Wyndham. He just has moves for days. It's looking like he's trying new things every week, and they almost about work every week, or they do work every week. You know, he's affecting the quarterback. He might be, defensive coordinator might look at him and be like, man, we might be able to do a lot of things with this guy, man. Because he does affect the game every week. I know, you know, they're starting to double team him, send running backs this way to chip him, to slow him down.
They're game planning for him now.
Yeah,
they're game planning for him.
He's very effective. And my guy ZFT, excuse me, Zion. Listen, I don't know what Washington's doing on defense, but they're not really giving my guy some run. I don't know if he's still hurt or if, you know, he just kind of fell off. You know, I'm not sure, man, but I'd like to see him get a little bit more run, but they kind of do the committee approach in terms of their front four, front seven, if you will.
I hear you. Hadley, you ready to get back in there? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think you're ready, Drew.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think you're ready.
Yeah, what do you say?
Can you hear us? You hear us?
Yeah, it looks like CPGM Hadley's having some technical difficulties. So we'll see if we can get him back. Let's move on to Texas Tech, NC State, Drew. You got your boy Leary. Who else? Other than Leary? Let's not talk about Leary.
We got Tyree Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's number 19.
Now, I imagine our audience isn't necessarily familiar with Tyree Wilson, so lay it out for him.
He's edge for Texas Tech. And let me see. Let me make sure I got that right. Yeah. Tyree Wilson, Texas Tech, pass rusher. He's a bully. He's a power rusher. I think, defensive coordinator is going to look at him, or D-line coach is going to look at him and say, we got to see more moves from him. And maybe someone looks at him and says that he's a physical freak, and we can teach him those things, and we can make this thing go with him. We'll see. Got to continue to watch him, but he did affect that game, and they had to start to double team him or chip him to slow him down. And he was going against Anthony Belton, and Belton held his own at times, but I think that Wilson mostly won that. And he was kind of manhandling Belton at times in that game.
I mean, I
But
understand that you don't want to necessarily eviscerate a prospect, but if you're getting manhandled, he's not necessarily holding his own.
At times, but at times, Belton's like, he held up his own. But if I had to say who won it, if I'm given a scorecard, I'm a judge. I gotta give it to Tyree, man. I can't not give it to him.
Let's see if we can get Hadley's thoughts on Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech. Hadley. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah, before the game, I seen a tweet about Tyree Wilson, and I was like, I had to check this guy out, man. This guy is humongous, big guy. Get my notes right here for you guys, man, because I took notes while I was watching the game. Long limb edge, has power and speed to get to the backfield. He has natural closing ability due to his length. He could get everywhere, just reaching over. He's at best when he can use his hands to push the tackle back. A lot of power. I think Drew probably mentioned it. He went against Anthony Benton, and I thought, against the run, he handled him. I'll give the win to Tyree Wilson there. It's just his size. It just overwhelms blockers. And I just think he's just scratching the surface too, because it's some technique stuff that he could get better at, some more rushing moves. But once he gets that, man, I think the sky's the limit.
Again. I'll keep reiterating it until you're tired of hearing it. The contemporary scouts, the emphasis is being placed on traits, and Wilson has them. Yeah. He has them.
He got up the board because of that.
Absolutely. And it's a matter of getting with the right coaching, get with the right organization to truly unlock what he does, put him in a position to be successful, and continue to develop those moves, as you mentioned, Hadley. Drew, before we get into the Week 4 slate, Saturday slate, I know you have some HBCU prospects that you want to highlight from a week ago. Let's hear it. Who do you have?
All right, so I have Khalil Baker, cornerback, or call him a DB from North Carolina Central. He's got 3 interceptions, returned one to the house last week. And I also have Aubrey Miller Jr., linebacker out of Jackson State. And let me grab this real quick because I want to make sure I do my man right here. Hold up, let me grab it. Let's see.
Bro, you can't have like dead air time on the live, bro.
Listen, man.
Come on, man.
I gotta give them what they want.
Come on. What you mean?
Listen,
they don't want dead air time on the live.
Listen, we're not on the radio, bro. It's a sin on the radio. It's a tap on the wrist here, bro. You know what I'm saying? On the YouTube streets.
Oh man.
All right, so Aubrey Miller plays for Jackson State. We know who coaches that team, right? Prime?
Yeah, that's Prime. That's Coach Prime. Coach Prime.
Prime.
Sorry, I disrespected him.
Coach Prime, that's true.
Yeah, he led the SWAC last year on 109 tackles. So he gonna be where he's supposed to be, man. And he's gonna continue to do that this year. And it's a guy I'm gonna continue to watch. 6'2", 225 is kind of that new age linebacker that you want.
A little undersized, but
yeah. We'll take it. We'll take it. As long as if you can move and slide it on them blocks, you in. You good.
All right, before we move on to that aforementioned Week 4 Saturday slate. Any honorable mentions? Any other players from games that we may not necessarily have discussed? Individual performances of 2023 draft eligible prospects that you want to point out, highlight.
Yeah, we got a wide receiver from SMU, Rasheed Rice. He was going up against Jakarian Bennett. Got it. Number 2 for Maryland. First play of the game. He didn't catch the pass because it was a little. I think it was a little out in front. I think the quarterback just kind of missed it. To his brother, kind of missed it. But no, was it no? I'm thinking Maryland. Never mind. Scratch that. It was a missed pass either way, and it would have went for a touchdown or at least 60 yards. But he dominated that game. He's got 28 catches for like 400 and almost 500 yards. Couple touchdowns. He dominated that game, man. I know they didn't win, but he dominated that game. We got my guy, and hit me down in the comment section with the phonetic because I'm gonna kill his name. I already know. Hunter Lupke, fullback, running back, halfback for North Dakota State, and he balled last week. Let me see. Can I find his stats? Do I have time to find his stats, bro? We got some dead air, bro.
Why are they already prepped?
No, I got it. It's right here. I got it. 18 touches for 115 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's just in the running game. It had 3 receptions for 65 yards for a
doing it all.
A tutty. Yeah, and I have notes on him. I'm not going to go over those notes, but I got him here. And I liken him to what's the fullback for
Juszczyk.
Yeah, there you go. You already know what I was talking about. Yeah. I think he might be a little bit more athletic than that guy.
Yeah, I think so. So. Certainly. A couple guys I wanted to mention. Blake Corum, running back from Michigan. You know, he did his thing. KJ Jefferson has been outstanding, the quarterback from Arkansas. You can see, the development, whether it be the fact that, he's taking his conditioning more seriously, but also as a passer in terms of being a decision maker. We know that he can, extend plays with his legs, make plays with his legs, but certainly I'm seeing a more well-rounded quarterback play and a difference maker, even without Treylon Burks in that lineup. Him obviously going in the first round of the 2022 NFL draft. Hadley, anybody you wanted to mention outside of the games that we've discussed previously?
Yeah, TSA has this receiver, Zachary Flynn. He went against Texas, and Texas was on upset alert game. And I seen Franklin made this play where the body control for a touchdown. I was like, this guy is nice. So, I did some more digging, man. 1,000-yard receiver the year before. One of the top. I think he's a top receiver prospect. I think, once he could get to more eyes on him, I think more people will see what I saw with him. Also, Chase Brown, running back from Illinois. This guy, he just the burst is unbelievable with Chase Brown. Watching him, he cuts on up and doesn't lose any speed. So that running back, I think he was leading the nation in break tackles. I'm not sure if he is anymore. And also Dion Henley, Washington State linebacker. He was all over the place. He got hurt, I think towards the end of the game, but all over the place. So those are 3 guys that caught my eye on.
Another guy, and I'm going to allow both of you to discuss him. We talked about it off air. Jordan Addison, and there was a question going into this season. Well, is he going to be able to play? An X. Can he play outside the numbers on a consistent basis? Where does he stack up in this class? Hadley said something. I don't know if he misstated it. I don't know if it was just hyperbole. I don't know what was going on.
It ain't misstated.
I'm just laying it out there. I'm laying it out there. But tell our audience what you had to say about Jordan Addison, not with respect to this particular class, but the 2022 group. Very, very impressive group in their own right.
I said that if he came out last year, he might be the best receiver in that class. And I stand by it because you know what? He won the Biletnikoff Award last year. Sure. You know what I'm saying? He won the award with all those guys. So, I'm not saying he would be I like Garrett Wilson a whole lot. I also liked Drake. But he's right there with those three. I think he's better than Olave. So I think he's better than Traylon Burks. So it'll be Garrett Wilson, Drake, and Jordan Addison. I think those would be the top three receivers over the last 2 draft classes.
Drew, your thoughts on that?
Real quick, did Tim Tebow win a Heisman? I'm just
say, man.
Winning an award. Just play it.
Addison Ball, man.
No, he's in the video game offense where he's going to perform, and they're gonna create one-on-ones with him, or they're going to create opportunities for him to make plays. The biggest thing for him, was going into the season is I just want to see more, because I wasn't overly impressed like everybody else was. I know he got the award for the best receiver in the country, but the things that I liked about him is he will go up and get the football, and he turns a bad ball into a catch. You know what I mean? So, but the things I've seen where he was at USC, he'll make people miss. You don't want him one-on-one with anybody. It's scary, bro. I mean, seriously, man. He went up against a Blue Kelly last week, and he got him. You know what I mean? And so
if he's even, he's leaving.
Yeah, if he's even, he's leaving, man. He's got a lot more than I thought initially. So I like him at USC, and USC has a bunch of talent there. It's going to be very interesting to see how things progress with him through the season. But I can't argue with what you're saying in terms of being one of the better receivers last year, going against Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Drake London, and the crew. Can't Traylon Burks and them boys. Yeah.
All right, let's turn our attention to the Saturday slate. Get our audience prepared for who they need to focus on in some of the marquee matchups coming up. Let's start with Maryland versus Michigan. And Drew, I'll start with you. Any particular individual matchups that you think are of particular note? And then overall, what prospects that could potentially be in the 2023 NFL draft are you focusing on in this contest?
So Maryland, you have Maryland. I'm not going to say it's a matchup, but Maryland has a ton of receivers. They have Jacob Copeland, formerly of Florida, receiver. I haven't really kind of figured out what he is yet. I think he's a possession receiver, but I'm gonna continue to analyze and review him. You got Dante Demas, the speed guy, just has to catch the football, has to stay healthy. And then you have, I think it's Jakeem Jarrett, the speedy slot receiver that you have there. Rakeem. What did I say? Jakeem?
Yes.
My bad. I'm glad you're there to save me. And then you have Jalen Duncan, left tackle. For those guys, just trying to see that killer instinct, man. A lot of these offensive linemen, they just don't have the killer instinct. That includes your boy from Georgia, Broderick. Yeah, nobody has the killer instinct. Nobody wants to pancake. Nobody wants to lay nobody down. Like I'm trying to eat your children and take your ear off, bro. Like nobody wants that, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's fine that you don't have it. It's just nice if you had it. You know what I mean? But in terms of matchup, Jalen Duncan going against the Michigan D line. One guy in particular who showed up on his first week was I'm not even sure how to say. I'm gonna just call him a Noma, number 18, who went to Alabama and had to leave, unfortunately for himself, because he couldn't he had to transfer out. Couldn't
crack that lineup.
No, he couldn't behave.
Okay. You couldn't
dismissed twice. From two different
couldn't toe the line.
Off the field issues.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I think he's on his fourth school right now.
Wow.
It's third. I think it's three. But hey, somebody hits down in the comment section. It's too many, bro. It's too many.
It's crazy.
Hadley, you're probably the first person I've heard speak about Jalen Duncan at any point, whether it be on a national level, a local level, whatever the case may be. As far as draft analysts are concerned, you're the first person that I heard mention the name Jalen Duncan, a guy that we need to focus on as it pertains to the tackle class for 2023. Your thoughts on that player?
I think he's solid in all aspects: run blocking, pass blocking. He's a power punch in the pass set. I know Drew Crescent, his mentality, his aggressiveness. I see him, man. He go find somebody. He hits hard. He's aggressive. He got those grippers once he puts his hands on you. I just think he's solid across the board in all aspects of the game. I think he's going to move up this draft class, especially when the Senior Bowl comes and he goes against those guys. I think he's going to be one of the top tackles in this class.
All right. That's going to do it for the Maryland-Michigan matchup tomorrow. Let's turn our attention to an ACC matchup. Clemson, Wake Forest. Of course, Sam Hartman is back. Should make it interesting. Clemson has a bevy of NFL draft prospects as well. That young man, Brian Bresee, in the middle of that defense, that defensive line looks like a tank. I'm really excited to see what he does this week. And then, of course, they have some second-level defenders as well that I have my eyes on. Hadley, what about you? Who are you focused on in this particular game?
Yeah, you said it. Bresee and Murphy on the defensive line, they're ballers. But that second level guy, because I'm looking for the linebacker, the top linebacker in this class. Sewell, not really getting it done. Trenton Simpson, man, he's a teleporter out there, man. He got that Roquan gene where he's flying all over the place. He just makes plays. So, I'm really interested to watch him coming up this Saturday.
Yeah, I think in that matchup, it's going to be the Wake Forest offense going against the Clemson defense. I'm not really looking forward to seeing Clemson's offense. I really I can't do it, bro. It's not a fun watch. I go through it every week where I'm watching them boys, and it's the same offense. It's been the same offense. There's really been no changes, and I don't really care to see it. So the fun should be Wake Forest offense going against Clemson's defense for sure.
That's where the fun is, huh? I think this next matchup should be pretty fun. I know you're going to be eagle on it, Drew. You have your Florida Gators facing the Tennessee Volunteers.
Yeah, man. Of course, we have Anthony Richardson, AR, which I think at this point for me, and it's a long season, but I'm just going to put a disclaimer out there. Not disclaimer. Well, I guess call it a disclaimer. We're not going to be talking about Anthony Richardson for this current class of quarterbacks. I don't think so, unless he
needs seasoning, man. He needs seasoning. There's no question about it.
You just got to chill. And
you want to give a little insight in terms of your scouting report on him, particularly when throwing to a particular direction.
Field, yeah, he doesn't throw to his left. I want everybody to watch that. He doesn't throw to his left. Everything is to the right side. So not saying that he can't, because he did throw a couple passes that way this past game, but there shouldn't be the scale shouldn't tip that far from one side to the field to the other. Right. Because that's a tendency, that's a tell. And if you're only looking at one side of the field, you're making things very, very easy. I think that word may be that he actually is hurt and they're just holding him back, or they're holding him back because they don't actually have a backup quarterback. So he's not at his full potential in terms of his ability to do what he wants to do. So maybe they're just holding him back. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
What does that have to do with him throwing to the left?
Hey, man, I'm just listening. I'm just trying to give everybody everything that I know, bro.
I'm asking questions. I can understand to your point in terms of them using his legs, perhaps preserve him in that way. And of course, that's a part of the dynamic that he brings, as the Gators quarterback, as the signal caller. It's the threat of what he does with his legs that really puts the defense in a bind. But if you limit yourself to one side of the football field, and again, you mentioned it at the top, Anthony Richardson, he needs more seasoning. He has only a handful of starts under his belt. There's a lot of talent there. There's a lot of ability there. I think folks jumped the shark a little bit as far as, he's now the number one quarterback after the impressive win against Utah. You know what I mean? His performance against Utah, it was great, but I mean, we haven't seen anything remotely close to that since then. You understand what I'm saying? So to your point, I don't expect him to be in this class, but we're going to keep tabs on him. Things change, and of course, it only takes a GM, an owner, a head coach to fall in love with a guy's talent. Again, when we talk about traits, that's what the emphasis is on. That's what the focus is on. So anything can happen. But as of right now, I'm with you. I think he's probably best served to remain in school and continue to work on his craft. Hadley, there's a lot of players on this in this particular contest on both sides of the lines here. Your thoughts on who viewers should be focusing on during this SEC matchup?
Yeah, I know you guys spoke about these guys before, but those edge rushers on both sides of the football, Byron Young for Tennessee, Brenton Cox Jr. for the Gators. I think they're similar. How they win, man. They're just physical. They too much to handle. They just keep coming and keep coming and keep coming, and they just get better as the game go along. Also, I like that receiver from Tennessee, Cedric Tillman. That guy, 6'3", 220, could jump. It looks effortless for him out there, man. And a comp I like for him is maybe a little T Higgins in this game. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Cedric Tillman. And Drew said the Gators have a lot of young corners, so it could be a big game for Tillman again.
That's the strength of their defense, though. Is their secondary, so it'll be a good challenge because they got a couple more receivers there. And also, I wanted to bring up, and Byron Young will be running into this guy Osiris Torrance. They're talking about he may be the best guard in the country. He's actually a transfer from where Billy Napier came from. It was Louisiana, Lafayette. So, or is it the Raging Cajuns is what they call them?
No, Louisiana.
Louisiana. Yeah, Louisiana. So, that should be a good matchup from time to time because the one thing Tennessee does do very well is they do a lot of stunts and play a lot of games up front, and they incorporate their linebackers heavily. So this should be a fun game to watch at the very least.
So neither one of you are going to mention Brenton Cox? Neither one of you?
No, he did. He said Brenton Cox.
I said Brenton
Cox. No. You're not understanding what I'm saying. The love y'all been giving Brenton Cox off air. I thought the segment would be focused on Brenton.
No, everybody already knows, bro. They know what he is.
Everybody knows.
Yeah,
Everybody's aware. Yeah, we got to make sure that folks are aware. Let's not make any assumptions. Right.
Real quick.
The only thing scared me about Brenton Cox is he's a Gator. He's a Gator. That's the only thing that scares me about him.
This is what I actually wanted to get to. This is the part that I actually wanted to get to.
Listen, we're going to ignore that. I just hope real quick.
No. You don't get to ignore it. You need to address it. You need to address this.
We'll address it when FSU.
Come on, it's a track record, man. It's a track record with Gators, man.
Listen.
No, I'm just talking about going to the next level. The players that go to the next level from the Gators.
That's what the second half draft show is about.
Listen,
it's called the second half draft show because we're talking about projecting them to the next level.
If you didn't know, that's what the show is about.
It's a laundry list of Gators, man.
Listen, man, I don't know, bro. I don't know what's going on in games, but I don't know what's in the water.
Your guy, bro. What's wrong with you, man?
What do you mean? He's talking about a history. I can't defend. What do you want me to do with the history? I can't defend the history. The history is
this guy's gonna buck. He's gonna buck the trend, right? You believe?
I hope so. I would like to think so, bro.
Come on.
Hey, real quick though. I do not want to see number 2 for the Gators out there, bro.
Who's number 2?
Bro, just he gets the name number.
Just the number. He's one of those guys.
You your number, bro, and not your name, bro. You're a problem, bro, and not a good one. A bad one. Terrible, awful. 54. 2.
Oh,
who else
man.
we had, bro? Who else we had?
Oh man. All right, let's move on. We're gonna stay in the SEC. We got A&M Aggies facing Arkansas. We talked about KJ Jefferson. We talked about Texas A&M. Let's talk about these players some more. Who should we be focusing on? We mentioned it earlier. If you're just now joining us, you joined us in the last 10 to 15 minutes. You may not have heard our spiel regarding Miami of Florida versus Texas A&M earlier in the show. So let's reiterate. Who are the playmakers on either side of the ball for these teams? Who should viewers be focused on, Hadley?
Anais Smith and Devin A Chain. A Chain and Smith. They're interchangeable. Running back, receiver, they do it all. Just put the ball in their hands and they're gonna find yardage on the field. So those two guys are the playmakers on Texas A&M. On the defensive side, Devin Richardson and Antonio Johnson. They're predators out there. We'll see the health of Antonio Johnson. Yeah. But those guys are predators out there, man. They're physical beings, and they're going to knock heads off. So this is going to be KJ Jefferson's biggest test so far.
Yeah, I think with Richardson, he may miss the first half, considering that he was ejected for targeting. So you probably won't see him until the second half, which of course is the namesake of the show, the second half draft show. But certainly number 26 and number 27 of the Texas A&M defensive backfield, guys that you really need to focus on. What about you, Drew? What's your thoughts, particularly on Arkansas? I want to hear what you have to say about Arkansas.
No, he said it. It's the KJ Jefferson show. It's up to
KJ.
him. Yeah, it's just KJ.
Yeah.
It's up to him to take these boys to the next level. I think they're going to get Texas A&M because I think Texas A&M has an issue at quarterback. I don't know that they're going to find the answer this season.
Sure.
But
Brad Johnson's son, by the way. Yep, Max Johnson.
Yeah, Max Johnson. And they said he got beat out because he didn't know the offense. Maybe he comes along through the season. We'll see.
You know what he does add is he adds some. We talked about it earlier with Stetson Bennett, right? There's some sneaky athleticism there. There's ability to extend a drive. If you decide to play man, turn your back, he can get out the back door, gain 8-9 yards, and extend drives. That gives A Chain another opportunity. That gives Anaya Smith another opportunity. Those types of things make a difference. Particularly when you're grasping at straws, trying to figure out who your quarterback's going to be. He probably isn't going to put up huge numbers, although he had solid numbers coming out of LSU, transferring over to Texas A&M. In fact, I thought those numbers were better than I had anticipated and collectively. But as far as developing the chemistry with the wideouts, with the pass catchers, getting protections right, so on and so forth. To your point, he was behind in that realm. But as the season progresses, I can see that position. They get better play out of that position, which will make a difference for those playmakers. You understand what I'm saying? But I do think his ability to use his legs offers a dynamic, another element to the offense that they didn't necessarily have previously, and the reason why they had a pretty bad loss early in the season at Appalachian State, which they paid $1.5 million to. That being said, let's move on. Let's go out west. Pac-12 after dark. I'm not sure if this game is actually going to be after dark, but certainly when we go out west, we're anticipating some shenanigans, and we have the Oregon Ducks, a team that we've discussed quite a bit over the first few episodes of the second half draft show, facing the Washington State Cougars. And Drew, your thought process as it pertains to matchups, draft prospects, keys to the game, what have you?
Yeah, Washington State has a quarterback, Cameron Ward. I think he's a junior transfer. He's running that air raid offense. Last week, I think they were going against Wisconsin. You have is it Dion Henley? Is that how you say it? I don't want to butcher the name. The linebacker on the other side for them.
Dion Henley.
Dion Henley.
Dayon.
All right, listen. Somebody hit us down. Dylon.
Dylon.
Is that Chappelle, bro? Is that Chappelle? Is that what it is? Yeah, Chappelle. All right, let's make sure I got it right. So
I think it's Dayon or something like that.
Dayon. Well, hit us down in the comment section with the phonetic.
Please do.
Yeah,
please do. Help us.
Henley. We know Henley is right? Henley, the last name. That's right?
Yeah. I think we're okay on the last name.
Last name. Okay. I know Headley likes him. That dude does a lot of guessing. But he plays fast and he plays hard and he has the traits that you want. So it may work out for him. Hey, we just need to refine
weak side. Weak side, keep him clean.
Clean it up. Clean it up from the back.
Put him on the weak side, keep him clean. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
He's gonna be going against Bo Nix and that offense. Bo Nix played pretty well last week. The Oregon in general played very well last week. They punched BYU in the mouth. I was hoping that game was going to be a little bit closer.
Oregon ran the eye, bro.
That's beautiful,
they had
wasn't
a
it?
Fullback, bro.
Back to basics, bro. As basic as it can get, bro.
I'm telling you. The players of today don't know what to do with the lead blocker.
Nah.
You see what's going on in Detroit. I know this is the second half draft show and the focus is on, college football prospects and them going to the next level. But see what's going on in Detroit. Gap scheme, trap, counters. They don't know what to do. Head spinning.
Hurt. But that so these linebackers, Noah Sewell and Justin Flo, going to be running all over the field because they're going to be playing in that air raid offense, a bunch of bubble screens, quick passes. I guess we'll see the new age linebacker at work in this game between those two guys. You also have Brandon Dolores, I think that's how you say his last name, and also DJ Johnson, the guy who plays tight end halfback, running back, punter, kicker, tight end, all that. No, he's not doing that this year. He did all that kind of stuff through his previous years. But looking for a little bit more progression from him, production from him to come along, because he was a guy who, we thought could be a player this year. Highly talented recruit. I mean, he did a lot of different things for Oregon, so that tells you about his talent in terms of him being an athlete. But they kind of honed it in and said, hey, we're going to have you out here playing edge and see what that looks like for an entire season. So it'd be interesting to see, this defense go against the air raid offense and Cameron Ward.
To get in there, man. What you think about this particular matchup?
Hell, gonna be sleeping.
No, I'm with Drew, man. I really want to see Cam Ward.
2 a.m.
I want to see Cam Ward against Oregon. Like Drew said, the Noah Sewell, I want to see him show up for once. He was a highly. You good?
Did we lose Hadley again?
No, we're good. Go ahead. He was talking.
Go ahead, Hadley.
No, I'm here. Yeah, I really want to see Cam Ward. I want to see Sewell. I want to see Sewell, man. Like, what is he doing? DJ Johnson, Brandon Dorius. It's just that Oregon defense versus Cam Ward in this air raid. I really want to see. This is one of the games I'm circling because I really want to see what Cam Ward is all about.
Yeah, I'm with you, Hadley, as it pertains to Noah Sewell. I had very, very high expectations of him. I thought, the instincts that he played with, some of the pedigree that he has, the film that I evaluated over the summer, he was impressive. He was impressive, and I just haven't seen him play at that level thus far. Things can change, certainly, but I'm expecting more from him, whether it's, dropping into coverage or coming downhill. I expect him to be a playmaker, a difference maker on Oregon's defense. So let's go to the Big Ten. Let's go to the Big Ten. We have Wisconsin facing Ohio State. And I don't know that this Wisconsin team is quite as competitive as it's been recently and historically. This may be just a down year overall for Wisconsin. It remains to be seen. There's still a lot of football to be played, but certainly the expectations have been tempered in Madison. Let's talk about Ohio State in particular, and then of course, if you guys have any prospects from Wisconsin of particular note, please share. But Ohio State, CJ Stroud obviously is the marquee name. We got guys along the offensive line. We have weapons. Marvin Harrison Jr. is not draft eligible, so unfortunately we don't get to laud praise on him. And then of course there's always a number of players. Zach Harrison, for example, on the defensive side of the ball from Ohio State. So Hadley, I'm going to start with you. Let's talk about some of these prospects from Ohio State.
Yeah, you mentioned CJ Stroud, but the guy that I'm circling is Jackson Smith-Njigba. He got banged by Brandon Joseph in week 1, and he hasn't really had a big game, man. We spoke about Jordan Addison. He's taken off as his wide receiver one, where Boutte and Smith. Huh?
I'm sorry. I stepped on your analysis. My bad, bro. Go ahead.
No, it's all good, man. But I want to see him have a big game because he's been missing in action. So I'm really looking for Jackson Smith-Njigba. Also Paris Johnson. He's going against Nick Herbig from Wisconsin. Herbig is not a big guy, but he's pretty quick. He's a hand technician. So I want to see how Paris Johnson deals with Nick Herbig. And Ohio State is loaded. They have safeties, Zach Harrison. They have some young guys that's not draft eligible. That's ballers. Right? I think Michael Hall is one of those guys. So, there's a lot of loaded talent. Wisconsin right now, to me, is just Herbig, and I think they have some guy on the offensive line.
Yeah, I'm looking to see Zach Harrison, who could have left school a year or two ago, and he just every time I watch him, man, I'm looking for something that I can hang on to, because this is a guy who, people have been talking about for years, and I just have not seen it, man. You'll see a flash here, a flash there. I think he's a power edge player, but I'm looking for more from him, man. Because if I'm not mistaken, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think he was a 5-star recruit. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe a 4-star. I'm gonna give him a 5-star. Somebody hit me down in the comment section. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, and I'm looking to see it. This is senior year, man. Let's see if we see it going against Wisconsin here. It's probably not going to come true for me, but it is what it is. And I am looking for
of little faith.
Listen, I like to tell the truth. I don't want to lie to people. And then in terms of Nick, how you say it? Nick Herbig? That's how you say it. Sounded good, anyways. Herbig. Yeah. Like you said, Hadley, he's not a power guy. He is a hand technician. Uses his thing is speed. I don't even think he has speed to power. I don't want to call the guy he's not a finesse player, because he will stick his shoulder in there and defend the edge. He's not going to give that up with ease. But this is a guy who is a technician and can work his way around offensive linemen. And listen, Paris Johnson Jr., I don't know that this is a good matchup for Nick Herbig, based on how Paris Johnson moves, because this is a guy going from playing, I think it was left guard he played last year, to now playing left tackle, and he looks the part as a left tackle.
Comfortable.
He looks really comfortable, and he has easy, good feet. Gets his hands and his feet match. So I wonder how that's going to look going against Herbig, who is not a speed to power guy, or not a power guy just in general.
In terms of Herbig, your thoughts with respect to his utility at the next level. Are we talking just rotational pass rusher?
I would say so.
Obvious passing down type play. Where do you kind of see him playing at the next level? What kind of role are you anticipating from him?
Third down or obvious passing situations. I don't know. This is a guy that you want to throw out there every single play. If you're forced to, it is what it is. But right now, I don't see him as that guy.
I hear you. Your thoughts? Do you share a similar sentiment with respect to Herbert?
Yeah, he's not going to really wow you with his testing numbers, I don't think. Probably end up on the Patriots somewhere. Titans, they like those guys.
Your boy from the Michigan. What was his name?
Chase Winovich.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, all of them, man.
All of them.
Winovich, he's Chase Winovich.
Oh man, I ain't say that. That's CPGM Hadley, y'all. That ain't me.
One more matchup, man. One more matchup to get into before we get out of here. We got Stanford versus Washington. And Drew, let me know what you think. What prospects should we be focusing on from this?
Well, we talked about Washington earlier. So let's talk about Stanford real quick. And those guys going against USC. And by the way, it was a tweet, right, that I saw, and I replied to the tweet talking about they want to play Georgia. Bruh, stop it. Knock it off. Y'all don't want to play Georgia.
Nah,
Stop it.
You don't want the problem.
You don't want those problems, because as good as that offense is humming with Stetson Bennett in Georgia, he gonna run circles around that defense, because that defense is terrible. And the thing about that defense is they're winning because of turnovers in terms of defense, right? You can pretty much do what you want on that USC defense for the most part. You just, at the end of the day, before you score, you'll turn the football over. They have a knack for that happening for them. But anyways, Stanford, that game should have been much closer than it was, because Stanford kept turning the football over. But the guys that I'm watching for Stanford in this game is going to be Kelly Caillou Blue going against Polk, the receiver for Washington. Also,
you just wanted to mention Polk.
Yeah, I had to. I got to sneak him in there, bro.
Yeah,
we
had a whole
Dustin, man.
production meeting.
Come on, man.
He might.
He might. I mean, maybe
Kelly
he
kind of
learned when he got
struggled with
dusted from
speed.
Come
He
on,
kind of
he might
struggled
have
with
learned
speed.
from he might have learned though. He might have learned from Jordan Addison when he got burnt and then didn't make the tackle. But in terms of Stanford's offense, they have a quarterback, and I can't think of his name. McKee, is it Tanner McKee? They have Jerry Rice.
Tanner McKee, Tanner McKee. Mm-hmm.
Right. They got E.J. Smith, Emmitt Smith's son. And they have I don't know his first name, but they have his the other Hall of Famer. Jerry Rice's son out there running around. So they got some guys, some playmakers out there. It'll be interesting to watch this game. This will be one. I know, Hadley, yours was the Washington State and Oregon game. This will be mine in terms of the West Coast Pac-12 matchup for Stanford and Washington.
Hadley, you're the one who really turned us on to
yeah. In terms of process,
go ahead.
Yeah, but with McKee is, last season, their offense, they changed their offense this season. They're running a lot of RPO spread concepts. You never really see Stanford run that. Stanford usually has like 3 tight ends in the game. They're gonna run it down your throat. So last year he didn't have much throwing windows. So I think they're trying to get bigger throwing windows for Tanner McKee. It's a new offense, so he kind of has to adjust to it. And then against USC, with just a lot of turnovers, you got to protect the ball better. Some of it wasn't his fault. It was fumbles, but he threw some interceptions also. So I want to see him protect the football a little better. And in terms of Washington, I want to see Jackson Kirkland on the field.
Yeah, where's he been at? Where's he been at, bro?
Everybody, yeah, I want to see Kirkland. Man. He had an ankle injury.
Oh yeah, the ankle injury, bro. He was supposed to come out like 2 years ago. Where he been at?
He got hurt. He got hurt last year with the ankle injury. Tried to come back. I don't think he's fully recovered yet. Okay. Yeah, he's missed the first couple of games. They say he might be back this game though.
All right, man. You got to rub that icy hot on there, bro. Come on now. Let's go. And by the way, I need to make a correction. I was wrong. Brendan Rice is on USC, bro. Yeah, icy hot. He's on USC, so I want to correct myself before somebody kill me down in the comment section because we ain't allowed to make no mistakes. Everything got to be perfect around here.
Hey, man, listen. You know what I mean?
They put erasers on pencils, bro. They even put them on pens.
But who uses a pencil other than people in grade school? Who uses a pencil?
Listen, they also put it on pens, bro. You know my Papermate?
Oh, come on, man.
Those
are terrible pens. Anyway, man. Hey, it's time to end this. It's time to end this live. Thank you guys for tuning into the second half draft show. We're live every Friday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Come on in, Drew. I'm gonna allow you to do your thing, all right, and give our PSA, our standard PSA. But again, the second half draft show dedicated to talking about the 2023 NFL draft prospects throughout the season. We're gonna give you updated analysis in the coming weeks. You're gonna see rankings. You're gonna see some head-to-head X's and O's and videos, as well as our traditional analysis associated with the games that passed, and then, of course, a look ahead to each Saturday slate. So be sure to tune in. Couch Potato General Manager, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also check us out at www.couchpotatogm.com. There's going to be a flurry of scouting reports. That's where you'll typically find our written work as far as the scouting reports, our grades. We have our own unique grading scale. And then it's something I wanted to kind of tease, and of course, it's still a ways off. But we're developing our own mock draft simulator.
Damn, bro, you put it out there in the streets?
I'm gonna put it out there. In the streets, man.
It's in the streets, yo.
I want folks to understand that we take it serious. We have a good time. We joke quite a bit, but we take the analysis, the scouting process very seriously. If you're familiar with the channel, you understand that we visit the Senior Bowl every year. We're there. We're on location. We're interacting with the prospects. You know what I mean? So certainly join us. Make sure you set reminders. Be on the lookout for the second half draft show from here on out. Drew, the floor is yours.
Hey, make sure that you like, subscribe, and don't be selfish. Share the video, bro. There's no reason for you not to share the video. Your mama and your daddy taught you better. Your grandma, your auntie, your uncle, abuela,
Abuelita.
Everybody, Nino, everybody, bro. Come on, share the video, bro. Come on. Let's get it.
We'll see you next time.